What's going on, Badger Nation? Welcome to the PPC Den podcast, where for over 250 episodes, we've been your home for all things Amazon PPC, advertising, tips, tricks, and optimizations to make your Amazon advertising life a little bit easier and a little bit more profitable. 6 months ago, I recorded an episode talking about ChatGPT and how we can use it for Amazon. 6 months have gone by. It is like a lifetime. So we're going to revisit that topic and talk about 3 workflows that have risen to the cream of the crop to still use today in your Amazon marketing adventure. So let's grow some campaigns. You can get all of our episodes organized, categorized at links in the description. We also have a nice prompt library freebie in the description, which you should get to. Have a good one, and let's jump in.
I've launched campaigns and picked keywords. I've got my bits, set placements too, and bad mistakes. I've made a few. I've had my share of wrong keywords, but I've gone through. We are the PPC Den, my friends.
Coming in all the way from beautiful, idyllic Europe, and probably drinking delicious espresso as I drink my disgusting American drip coffee. Welcome back to the show, Clement.
Hey Mike, thanks for having me. I'm sure coffee's good, but you're welcome to come here and share one with me.
I want to say I saw a video recently of like a European making a video of like how to be a day in the life of an American, and they were pouring hot water over dirt into like to make. They're like, I have to make my coffee. It tastes so good.
Yeah, I'm going to McDonald's and just eating that every day.
Yes, I think we're going to start a war. So we better stop and move on to other topics.
Everything's fine.
I want to say that 6 months ago, Josh, a friend of the show, came on the show, and that was right when ChatGPT came out. Do you remember the days when ChatGPT first came out?
I don't want to think about that. Medieval ages, right?
6 months ago,
yeah,
or like 8 months ago, yeah. I remember hearing about like GPT-1. And my friend was using it, and he's like, "This is going to be crazy." And I can only imagine how bad ChatGPT-1 was, because I'm a snob now. If I'm not using ChatGPT-4, I can't use ChatGPT-3 because it's so caveman-like. I can't get any value out of it. I got it. I need the 4.
Can you imagine ChatGPT 5 or 10 for that matter? Wow.
Come on. The brain link.
Yeah.
And at the time, we recorded an episode which was really just about like all the things that you could do, and like kind of connected those dots to Amazon PPC. But what I think is really neat now, 6 months later, the dust has settled a bit, and we can really get into actual workflows that you can actually do for Amazon marketing using AI. Using ChatGPT specifically is what we're going to be talking about here. And anytime people talk about AI, it's always nice, like, well, what prompts are you using? How are you sort of navigate this? And you've done something real nice out there for the people of Badger Nation, haven't you?
Yeah, I compiled a list of prompts that are free to download, and you're welcome to use them. Because, in the end of the day, the tool is just as good as the one using it. And in the case of ChatGPT, it's just how good, how well are your prompts? Like, what are you feeling it?
Mm-hmm.
If, the saying, garbage in, garbage out. So, yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah. And it's such a massive time saver and an efficiency boost to have those saved prompts. So like every time you're doing activity X for Amazon, you can just paste in that prompt and get exactly what you need every time instead of like, write me a product description. And it's like, well, how do you want to actually write the product description? Which actually brings us to, so let's actually get right into it. We're going to be talking about 3 main workflows that still remain for Amazon PPCers. And with that, let's jump into it. Okay. So the first one, the first one's an easy one. That's like the where you
The clap, yeah,
click
no.
to
That's I don't know if it's gonna be in the show, but Mike just blow his mic up just to make a big loud noise, and that just went right into my brain.
Oh, I apologize. It's because I have a dog in the room, and he gets too nervous if I clap. So I try to do other things to signify to our editors to play the transition music. The first workflow that has remained after 6 months of AI hype is copywriting anything. So we were thinking about breaking this workflow out into separate things that you can do copywriting for, but it's almost like it's just better to say copywriting anything. I would say that most Amazon PPCers, including myself, are not great copywriters. Like it's hard to do good copywriting. It's a different part of your brain, and copywriting for me, my part of my brain is not as big as my like PPC skills. So when ChatGPT came out, to me, that was a thing that I think most Amazon marketers, Amazon PPCers definitely gravitated to, because, you know, if you're an Amazon seller, it's like you have so many things to think about. You have to make a lot of micro decisions throughout the day. You know, you're probably making 100, 200, 500 decisions a day. And then to like sit down and like write good copywriting.
It's hard, yeah.
Yeah. So copywriting anything is this workflow. So let's actually break this out for people. What do we mean when we say copywriting anything?
Right, yeah. So obviously, writing a good listing description, listing title, you know, your bullet points. And what's great with ChatGPT is that you can feed Amazon's TOS and make sure that you are compliant. Make sure that you are not using anything that is not, you know, forbidden, anything like that. You can feed it the main keywords you want your product to be ranked for, all this kind of good stuff, and get on with the perfect product title, bullet points, and product description. So yeah, that's one thing you need to.
For sure. And, you know, you'll see it in the download, which you can get in the description. Part of that is really just taking meticulous time to craft that initial prompt so that every time you want to write the perfect product description, the perfect product title, every time that happens, you've got the prompt and the standards according to Amazon, the formatting standards, the rules. You have all of that SEO practices, as well as like the keywords that you're going after. You have all of that included in the prompt, so that every time you want to write a headline, it uses that same structure every single time, so that whether you're just creating a brand new chat, or you're using an existing chat, you're sort of reminding it what a perfect product description and product title all look like. So that's a big thing. Like I've been using a Google Doc to do that. Like have a Google Doc. I'll go get the Google Doc, copy paste, put it into ChatGPT, and now we're sort of sharing that with everyone here. So would you say, like, if you're writing a product description today, what are the chances you are not using ChatGPT, and what are the chances you are using ChatGPT?
All right, 0 and 100. Like, why would I not use it? It's like, why would I, you know, I don't know, bicycle for 100 kilometers when I can just use my car with AC and enjoy.
For your health, Clement, for your health.
Right, I know. We don't have time for health. No. Nah, let me take that back. Health is important. Take care of yourself.
Yes, there you go. I would say too, like, you know, as we've talked about a lot of different topics on the show. We've talked about SEO optimization, SEO keyword selection. We've talked about A/B testing, product titles. We've talked about a lot of different things like that. And like this is sort of the culmination of it. So previously, one of the roadblocks that people could have had towards testing their product titles, A/B testing, could have been, oh, I don't have the time or energy or focus or desire or skills or talent to think of an alternative title to test my click-through rate. And now I think there's no excuse to like double your sort of click-through rate for anything that you have to write. Because the second thing too, aside from product data, is of course like sponsored brand headlines.
Yes.
Anywhere you need to write something, I think that you can test and iterate and grow more your click-through rate, which has like huge consequences. Like if you can double your sponsored brand click-through rate for your headline search ads, that's huge.
That's huge. Yeah. And you improve your conversion as well. And that's huge. If people see what they want to buy in the title in your headline, then they are more likely to convert. So increasing your conversion will make you more money, make your ads more profitable.
Yeah.
So no, it's huge. I also want to jump on that. Like we are in a global world, we live in a global world now. You're probably selling in Europe and we have there's not just English. Using ChatGPT to translate your listing is just huge as well. It's really good at making organic translations. So yeah, go ahead, have the perfect listing. Don't sound like a Chinese seller or something. Like.
You probably are a very good person to ask about that because I think you speak at least 17 languages.
Yeah, all the dialects of France. No, just three. But yeah, Spanish and French are the other one.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it's doing a good job. It's much more efficient than Google Translate. That could, sometimes don't really good. Don't feel really automated. I didn't catch the sentence right. Now it's doing a much better job. And you can iterate. Like write me 10 translation of that title and test it out. And you can use a native to bulletproof it, to proofread it.
Yeah. But yeah, sounding like the customer language is absolutely important. I think there's so many things that it unlocks where previously that would have been way more complicated, and now it's sort of shortcut that. I even, to take it back to the sponsored brand headlines, one of the best practices that even anyone would skimp on, I would even skimp on it, is sort of customizing the sponsored brand headline to the keyword or group of keywords that, so like you're creating these tight buckets of keyword headline matchups, and it would just be so time consuming to sort of do that for all of your keyword buckets. So you sort of cut corners, you end up using the same sponsor brand headline, but now you can move so much faster through that by just getting a good headline on demand. Game changer.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Other times that have been helpful for writing, responding to Amazon, client communication, responding to things. How have you seen people use that?
Yeah, for the customer service part of Amazon, sometimes it's a bit constraining to just having that done properly. You can get emotional with some clients that are kind of passive aggressive, and you just throw that email into ChatGPT, have that prompt ready, and it's just going to write a very polite email and a very professional one. So that's a good one. Again, I'm echoing what I said with different languages. You're likely speaking English, then a Spanish customer is reaching out. Just put that in there and he will not notice the difference.
Wow. Yeah. I've actually seen, there's a headline in the news right now of a company that it's kind of, it's support staff. He laid off 90% of his support staff and replaced them with an AI chatbot. And the reason why it's really in the news is because he was like bragging. He was like kind of a bad look to like brag about this kind of thing. You know, in another reality, maybe he found other opportunities for those people at the company. But I think that, yeah, customer support, for all those reasons that you mentioned, it's going to remain calm when it needs to be. It's going to like look at things in a really sober fashion. It's going to like respond really well and empathetic to the customer, where maybe sometimes when we are humans can get a little too triggered. So yeah, client communication and responding to customers, I think, is really fascinating.
Yeah, it is. And I see AI as a tool to improve the quality of our work, not really, lay off some people and everything. So hopefully that's what's going to happen.
Right, exactly. So like really level it up. I've heard people also talk about using it to write an appeal letter if you get in some sort of hot water
Oh, yeah.
as an Amazon seller. So like, defect rates and maybe a policy violation, things like that. What have you heard?
Yeah, no, the same thing as you. Like, if you have Amazon writing you an email saying that you've done something wrong or you need to improve something, then you can really use that tool to draft the perfect email. I don't copy and paste, reread it, adapt it to your style and business, but you have strong foundations to really, get you out of a tight situation.
Yeah. So like, again, same thing, have a, hopefully you're not constantly sending appeal letters to Amazon, but yeah, feeding it the parts of the letter that you want. So, come up with a good introduction, describe the situation, like what actually caused, the suspension or getting in hot water, describe sort of how you got there and describe how you're remedying the situation and how you're going to prevent it from happening in the future. And, be professional, and then include words like be friendly, be easy to read, be straightforward.
The tone.
Right. So copywriting anything, we and some pro tips too. The more you feed it, the better it generally gets. So we found some good usages of like, searching a keyword on Amazon using a tool to grab those product headlines, put those product headlines into ChatGPT, and then say, hey, here are some of my competitors that are outranking me. Do you see any commonalities in there? Like, do you see any common words that I'm not seeing? Do you see any particular formatting or what keywords do you think they're using? You can do the same with their bullet points. So you can upload these listings. You can paste it in. You can now use a spreadsheet to upload it to. I personally have found that copy and pasting to be like easy enough. And I really like that. So like analyzing competitors who are maybe doing a little bit better than you, what are they doing that I'm not? I found that to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, finding the common thread in the successful people and trying to replicate that to your own business is definitely something that AI can help you with. And yeah, for me myself, I'm using the code interpreter to upload that. Really speed the process. I'll definitely include that in the downloadable content.
Yeah. So I would say no reason not to improve your click-through rates, get people clicking on your product more, boost your SEO by best incorporating important keywords into your listing, improve your click-through rate and conversions on sponsored brands, have better customer support. Like, it's an incredibly powerful tool.
Yeah.
And with that, let's jump into the second use case that we're still using ChatGPT for. Okay, so this interesting one I really like. So take it away for the second one, because it's really interesting.
Cool, yeah. The next part is just the bread and butter of our company, using ChatGPT to really organize neatly our keyword research, to have a perfect structure on the campaigns that we want to run ads on. And what I really like to do is start, as I did before, in your favorites, keyword analyzer tool, whatever you're using. Most of us are probably using kind of Helium Tail, but whatever you like, and then just feeding that to the tool and asking it to organize your keyword list into different groups. You can focus on a certain semantic. You can focus on search volume, like comparable search volume. Don't put your low search volume with your big ones to make sure that they still get some eyeballs. All this kind of stuff, and you can also have it craft your perfect campaign names using the nomenclature you like, and then you just have to upload that to your campaigns. You saved hours of your time and quality as well. Quality is up.
Yeah, this is a really cool advanced tactic because it incorporates good campaign structure. So when you prompt it, you tell it the campaign structure that you want. So whether you're grouping things by topic, search volume, how many keywords you want per group, whatever it might be, it's just giving that back to you in a really simple way that you can then, just plug into your campaigns. Yeah, keyword organization and grouping for campaign structure. I can't tell you, it still happens. Not everyone is a PPC Den listener, because years ago we talked about keyword dumping. That still happens where people just put in hundreds of keywords in a single ad group. This sort of prevents that by sort of prompting it and telling it, like, group my keywords according to X specifications.
Using best practices.
Anything else to say about keyword organization and just sort of grouping?
Yeah, so there is, the in the US, the Spanish speakers are just growing more and more, using ChatGPT to just translate, your top volumes or top keywords that you want to advertise on. Can really help. Get the low-hanging fruits. Usually there is not a lot of competitors advertising on those. And what I suggest doing is also grab those, put them into your backend, search terms, and the backend of your listings, and start getting some indexations and ranking on those. So that's really working well. Don't forget what we said in the previous section. Create some sponsored brand on Spanish. You can do that. It's show some love to the Spanish speakers.
Yeah, we've talked about that before on the show. Easy way to get more sales volume. Another pro tip here when we're talking about keyword organization and grouping for campaign structure, proactive negative keyword research is still so incredibly important. And most people only do reactive negative keyword research. Reactive being looking at your search term report, adding what is irrelevant and not converting. That's the reactive way. But the true pros like to do proactive negative keyword research, where you are doing keyword research for negatives before they ever get a chance to show up in your search term report. So when you upload those terms and say, these are terms that I want to target, you can also ask it, can you also give me a list of negative words, negative keywords that I don't want my products to appear for, so that you can sort of do some of this preliminary setup right away, which is also helpful because, normally I would do keyword research using a keyword research tool to try to look and find negatives, but like asking it can be helpful.
Yeah, definitely. Don't forget your never keyword list. That's how we do things at AdBadger to really prevent some ad spend building up and focus on the winners.
Awesome. And with that, let's jump into the third and newest way that Amazon PPCers can still use AI. Alrighty, Clement. Now, the third way is actually quite new. It's hot off the presses. Yeah. Code interpreter.
I spoiled it, right?
Spoiled it. Mentioned it in part one. We have a very rigid beginning, middle, and an end to the show. But yeah, this code interpreter, it's called code interpreter, but it can interpret spreadsheets. So you've been playing around with this for a little bit. And my first reaction at it was, if you upload a search term report, I can just analyze that a lot easier and faster than like going through the trouble of putting it in there. Like I can say, show me my terms without any orders, or show me my terms with a great deal of orders. I can do that analysis just using simple filters. But you've thought of some really unique ways to use Code Interpreter over the last few, just really weeks since this thing's been out. Days even.
Yeah, days. I think that's last week or early this week. Yeah, it's really new. So I'm sure I've come up with new ideas. when the episode comes out, and I'll update the downloadable content. But yeah, what I try to do, because I try to make it speed out or analyze complex spreadsheets, and it was not great. Like, it keep asking me questions about content for some context, and at the end I end up losing more time and getting confused results. So I go back to the drawing board and I start with something simple. And I thought, review analysis is pretty straightforward. So I downloaded the reviews from my own keyword, my own products and some competitors, and I asked it to, give me the 10 best selling point, give me the 10 worst complaints, or the most common, anything that I could extract from those reviews. Sometimes I can get keywords out of reviews as well that I didn't think about, that never came out on my keyword analysis. And yeah, you can tap on some interesting opportunities there. It's also helpful when you want to launch a product and you're doing product research, like really early stages. You want to improve on a design or a product. You just see what the people are complaining about, and you fix that, and you see what they like, and you are sure to keeping those. It's nothing new, right? But it's getting easier with AI.
So yeah, I love that category of sort of using AI for review analysis. And when you first mentioned you were using it, I was like, oh, doesn't the Product Opportunity Explorer take care of that a little bit, because it sort of summarizes the overall reviews for the space? But you brought up an interesting point that doing it this way with specific products, with specific reviews, is actually similar, but it just better refines it, because you could be a little bit more selective about the input. You could say, well, only show me the reviews of like the very, very best products, and analyze those, which I thought was something that you can't really do in Product Opportunity Explorer.
Yeah, you can use that first step to identify some good competitors, and then you can go into that ChatGPT technique to really find out cool stuff.
And lastly, seasonal analysis. I did not expect you to throw this one out here, but I thought if we looked at your prompt and what you sort of got from the seasonality analysis, which was really fascinating. So why don't you break down how you used ChatGPT's code interpreter for Amazon PPC seasonality analysis?
Yeah, that was an interesting one, and that's a real life example. So I had a client that had a product that it's not easy to produce. They really need to order a large quantity of raw materials, and it's pretty expensive. So they were running out of stock, and they asked me to forecast that potential yearly sales of that product. And it's a really seasonal product. Like, sometimes you're going to sell half of what you can sell during a specific period of the year. So I uploaded some of our sales, like it was incomplete sales data, and I make sure that I mentioned that to ChatGPT. And I asked it to just extrapolate from what I had and gave me a comprehensive forecast, and it was pretty accurate. Like, the client did that on its own, and we came up with similar results. So it was good experience.
So code interpreter, when you first started talking about it, it was sort of, this is where the prompts I think will really evolve, and I'd love to see where the prompts go in the next 6 months, because I think that's a really neat way to approach using this for seasonality analysis. It's something that I really didn't expect. So in conclusion here, these 3 workflows for Amazon PPCers, I think every Amazon PPCer is now a good copywriter and can produce copywriting at higher levels than they ever have before. So using that to instill best practices into all of your listings is huge. Every Amazon seller is now a good copywriter, thanks to ChatGPT. On top of that, if you know the basics of good SEO, or even if you just use good prompts, you can incorporate those SEO best practices into your copywriting. So not only are you a pretty good copywriter now, but you're also pretty good at SEO, on page optimization of your product title and your bullet points and so on. So I love that. The keyword grouping and campaign structure, I think, is very, very useful and very helpful. The review analysis, seasonality analysis, those are going to be things that are more as needed. But I'm really excited to see where these tools go in the next few months. And maybe we'll do another update like six months from now about like 3 new ways that we're using it. But yeah, this copywriting and keyword organization, I don't really see going anywhere.
I think those are going to be the same in the next 6 months. And with that, sky's the limit. Like, we can think about new ways. We're going to discover new things. And the community is pretty generous. So I'm sure that everyone's going to share how they leverage the AI, and we're all going to learn from each other. So that's great.
Yeah. And speaking of generous, definitely go into the description and get some of these prompts that you put together. The link is in the description. Thanks so much, Clement, for coming back on the show. Thanks for always being so generous and sharing, your real boots on the ground, how we're actually optimizing campaigns. It's absolutely awesome. Everyone else, I'll see you next week here on the PPC Den podcast.
Yeah, see you next time.